Hello and welcome to the Books Crypto Club catch-up on Zoom. It is Sunday, the 28th of November 2021, and today we're going to be talking about cryptocurrencies, blockchain, DeFi, NFTs, ICOs, or anything else that crops up, really. We hold these sessions every week and we record them, and then we put the playbacks on YouTube. We never really know what we're going to talk about. It depends who the audience is, what they want to talk about. So if you find something of interest, then do remember to subscribe, like this video, or come along to an event. It's open to all, whether you're an expert or a novice or anything in between. So let's see who's going to come and join us today.
Hello, Gary.
Ellie, hello. How are you?
I'm okay. How are you?
I'm good, thanks. Whereabouts are you based?
Arizona.
Ah, okay. Yeah.
So, well, we're at the end of our Thanksgiving weekend. I was paying attention to the NFTs. Did you get to see about the NFTs on the Macy's parade?
No, tell me more.
Okay, so in the US for Thanksgiving, it's very famous, this parade in New York City with Macy's. Macy's is the sponsor. And you really need to pay attention to this one because they had all these graphics that were done for the parade puppets. They do these puppets that they inflate, and all the artwork on the creation of these characters were put on for auction for NFT.
Oh, wow. Okay. I didn't see that because I saw something with that big billboard that's in Central Square, I think it is, has had various crypto announcements on it lately. But
Okay.
I didn't see that about the NFTs. That's interesting. I'll check into that.
I thought you would get a kick out of that. And then they also gave a lot of tokens for free to people who would go into this Macy's website. I tried to get one, but of course I was too late. But I thought it was kind of interesting. I tried to put a bid on an NFT for this ice cream cone thing. But when I tried it, it was not that much money, but it was 5 hours away. And some of these pieces went for thousands and thousands of dollars.
Wow.
Hundreds of thousands of dollars. I wish I could show you, but you would be like amazed. And, you were the one who was talking about NFTs the other day.
Yep.
Some of the characters were Disney characters or characters from movies for animation films. Yeah, look at that. But that was just a little bit of something.
Okay.
And some of those went down for $300,000. What do you think of that?
Oh, wow, that's impressive. I don't know if this will play if I.
It does.
Oh, cool.
That's the one I was bidding on, the one with the ice cream, because it was the cheapest.
And how much was that going for?
I don't know what it finished, but when I looked at it, it was like $60 or $70. I said, okay, I can afford that. But
Okay.
not when it got into thousands and thousands of dollars. Forget it. That's beyond my means.
Yeah. That's impressive. Well, I like it. Well, thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, and then after that, so if you read that, every time they sell one of these NFTs, there's a 10% money of whatever they sell it for that's going to go to some charity work that they were doing.
Okay.
So that's pretty good. So if it's got sold twice or 3 times, then, whatever, they keep getting money forever.
Okay. Well, I guess that's the whole great thing about NFTs, that you can build into them this kind of like license fee payments or whatever, which like digital artists really like. Because it means they keep getting commissions that. But I guess that there's no reason why it has to go to the artist. They can set it up to go to the charity.
Right.
So yeah, that's a really good way of doing it. Oh, well, shall I keep an eye out for that then for more future things?
Yes, yes. And you probably heard about one of the stadiums in California, right? That got sold, and it's going to have a crypto name. I'm not sure if it's Bitcoin or one of those, but
okay.
One of the stadiums, you know how they put names for companies, so this one is going to have the name of a crypto.
but this is it, that you realize that everything in this crypto space is beginning to gain mainstream awareness.
Yeah,
because this is the thing. In the UK, there are a couple of crypto projects that advertise at football matches.
Oh, sure.
So, you can actually be, I don't watch football myself, but you can sometimes watch a football match going on, and in the background, you can see the banners in the stadium advertising either a crypto project or something like eToro, who are a big gambling site who've got a crypto capability in them. So yeah, so there's more and more of this kind of stuff going on, and it just increases the overall awareness for people in the general public, which is great.
So what about, are you into this metaverse?
I'm still trying to work out what it is. But yeah, definitely. I think metaverse is going to be one of the next big innovations in the crypto world. Because I've been saying for a while that the whole thing with NFTs is that NFTs effectively allow you to create ownership of virtual assets in the metaverse and in the physical world. So you've suddenly got a crossover. So I know people are doing things like creating a virtual art gallery, which is within a computer game of some sort, like Roblox or whatever, where you put on a VR headset, you step into this virtual art gallery, which is in the metaverse, and you can buy and sell virtual digital art within the virtual digital art house.
And pay with the tokens.
That's correct. Yeah.
But I was watching a YouTube, because this is just so much. I got into it mainly because of investments. So I was looking at buying, some of the crypto for long term and so forth. And then now this whole thing with metaverse, it's I don't like Facebook. They're kind of heading that change. But then I am an investor on NVIDIA. You're familiar with NVIDIA, the manufacturer of computers.
Yep.
That actually is used for mining some of these tokens.
Well, this is it, because NVIDIA are very big in the graphics chips.
Right.
And graphics chips are exactly where a lot of the stuff used for mining came from. Admittedly, they tend to have dedicated chips now. But yeah, you're right that a lot of NVIDIA's chips, I think, went into mining. But you were saying, sorry, yeah.
No, that's fine. So I went in and heard an interview of the CEO of NVIDIA on YouTube. And they created a metaverse that's called Omniverse, whatever. But what they're doing with that Omniverse, which is another metaverse, or part of metaverse, is they are educating robots within the metaverse or within this virtual world.
Okay.
Because they want to train the robots in virtual worlds because it's cheaper and faster to do it there. And once they train them there, then they can download the software into a real robot in the real world.
Okay.
So it's a cheaper way of doing, I guess, robot development.
Yeah. Well, it's really interesting. If you look at, there's a UK company called DeepMind, I think it was, who were acquired by Google a few years ago for, I think it was $200 million, which, given they were still kind of a startup, was pretty impressive. But these were the people who developed an AI solution to play the Asian game Go.
Okay.
And so they developed it, they let it go and figure out all the rules and everything by itself. But what they did, I believe, to really accelerate the development of it, was that they actually had two DeepMind robots playing Go against each other constantly. Mm-hmm. And that way they would keep learning from each other and learning type thing. So exactly as you say, it's a great way of accelerating the learning ability. So yeah, there's no reason why you couldn't put that into a metaverse world for the robots to learn in a simulated world, accelerate the training and development of them, as you say, to then bring them into the physical world and hope that the data remains the same. Yeah.
Well, it's going to be scary because a lot of things in the virtual world do not, even though they're not the same.
Yeah. Well, that might be one of the problems that they've had this issue before now with things like robots that are designed to use imagery. So yeah, they look at things, and the classic one is if you teach your AI how to recognize, say, skin conditions like melanoma or something, but you only teach it with Western light skin tones, it's not going to work globally. You know, you have to redo it for African markets, Asian markets, all this kind of thing because of the nature of the skin tones, which is fine as long as people realize that.
Right.
It's when they don't and they lift and shift what they've learned in one environment to another. And one of the problems with the metaverse is it doesn't strictly replicate the real world. And so you may...
It replicates the world of that person who created it, right?
Yeah.
Which has its own bias.
That's right. So that's what's going to be really interesting about looking at the bias and certainly the unconscious bias within metaverse developed robot learning. So interesting stuff. And then you need to put a crypto layer on top of it to work out how to profit out of it or develop it now.
I was listening to somebody who is in real estate, and he's a real estate owner. He's already thinking of getting a property for selling real estate on the metaverse.
Okay.
Because he thinks people are going to go buy properties there.
They already do. There are some games, the names of which escape me, where you can go and buy virtual real estate. So it's a bit like if you're playing something like Rise of Nations or Civilization 6 or something which involves like physical locations and that, you can buy property or land, or you can develop it in Roblox or whatever, and own it already. And I know a couple of companies who are trying to do that through NFTs. But the other thing for the real estate person is, well, how about you map a real world real estate thing and put it into a virtual world, and then you trade the virtual world tokens, which represent ownership of the physical world tokens. That's kind of like it starts
mind-boggling.
Exactly right. Yeah. Yeah.
You really need to be able to live in multi-dimensions.
And that's where I think it's going to be interesting that the crossover, the boundary between the physical world and the virtual world, because I think it becomes to get quite blurred, because you're potentially going to be using a virtual currency for the physical world, which is kind of interesting, and using a virtual representation of a physical thing. So there's a concept known as having a digital twin, which is this whole idea that it's a data representation of you, whether it's financial, medical, or whatever.
Intellectual.
Well, exactly. So think of that digital twin exists within a metaverse world, and it can go off and do things. It's kind of interesting because it stops being a twin, because in some ways it can potentially start behaving on its own. This is where maybe you'll go to bed at night and you'll discover that your digital twin's been trading Bitcoin overnight in a virtual environment and has left and has gone to a virtual Dubai because they're now a millionaire or something.
That's crazy. Well, I do believe that when I go to sleep, I do live in two different worlds.
Yeah.
So, what's wrong with thinking that we're going to do that in this metaverse? So have you been to a metaverse or to one of these virtual worlds?
I've been to a number of virtual worlds where I was at a conference a while ago trying on different VR headsets.
Which ones have you tried?
From what I remember, it was something I think from Sony. There was Oculus with Oculus Rift.
Oculus.
Yeah.
I've seen Oculus at Costco. It's on sale right now for Christmas. I don't know. So what do you do with that? You have to put it on, connect to the internet, and where do you go?
Well, there are games that are set up where you can play using the VR headset, or there are experiences set up. So a lot of them are just kind of like simulations for now. So you mentioned you saw a VR headset somewhere. Was it Costco or Walmart?
Yeah, Costco.
Okay.
Costco.
Yeah. So you look at things like when you go into a store, and you know how the shelves are laid out.
Right.
They're designed in a certain way to take you through a store.
Right.
And it's quite expensive, but companies have been doing this for years, where they physically relay a store to work out how to change your buying habits and that. Now, obviously, moving stock from one part to another, you know, bottles of wine, cases, crisps, candy, this kind of thing, is quite inefficient. But I think Procter and Gamble have introduced an ability to do that using VR. So they can now do store relays.
Interesting.
And that makes the cost of trying things out and getting a consumer to wear a headset and virtually walking around the store, so you can see what their eye movements are, to see what they're finding attractive, what they're finding interesting in that. Totally different world. So, and talking of totally different world, here's Sam. Good evening to you, Sam.
Hello. Long time no speak. How are you?
Yeah, we're good. We're just talking about, we went on to NFTs and then onto the metaverse, and then drifted from there onto virtual reality. And it all kind of links together, really, though.
Meta's it's very hot, so I'm expecting very, very good things on the metaverse and a lot of upside. I mean, you can see the resilience in the cryptos like Sandbox and so on and so forth against the rest of the market.
Yep.
So that's a good indicator of strength. But I'm expecting the woe FUD brigade to take over next week. The bears are going to successfully bring the price down with Omicron. The Omicron is certainly terrible for crypto, I think.
Why do you say that?
Well, it's just, do you know what? The traders will just use any excuse of bad news to I mean, unless they want to go counter to what sentiment is, and then tomorrow there's a big rally. Well, lovely. In that case, you know, I've got my stable coins on the side. I'm ready to pump back in if on the 8 EMA we get a daily close in the green. So,
but did you say that the traders are going to be reacting to Omicron or something?
I think they will be. I mean, you know, if history teaches anything, look on the first, like, you know, Holland has shut down. They have a partial lockdown. All the schools in England are going back to wearing masks. Every single news channel. Yeah.
I'm with you now. So you're talking about the COVID variant, not Omicron, the cryptocurrency.
Right. It's South African.
Exactly right.
Right.
The South African, the new strain.
Okay. So yeah. Sam, I've got a different view on it. I think there is the potential, having watched the doctor who first discovered it in South Africa. I think there's the potential it could be very good news, because if you listen to the stories, it is highly infectious, which is obviously not good. However, it is very mild.
Yeah, that was the news that came out today.
Yeah. So you think about it, if it's highly infectious and very mild, that means everyone catches it, builds up their natural immunity, which solves the problem about having to deal with it. Don't need vaccines, don't need lockdowns, don't need passports, don't need travel restrictions. Hey, presto. So,
but it's not yet confirmed.
No, that's correct. And I'm saying to people, let's wait and see what actually happens, because it may change. It may just be that the initial cases weren't too bad. So we shall see anyway.
Yeah, but it's spread everywhere. I share Sam's concern. It's already in Hong Kong, in the Netherlands, in the UK, in Amsterdam. They had a lot of flights that came in. For all I know, I heard that they already have someone in New York.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised, because you think about it, it's typically 2 weeks at times in terms of the infection period, and they never really know whether you've got something or not. Then yeah, if a few people have had it and they were on an aeroplane then that means they've been through an airport. It means it's gone poof. It'll be all over the place. So yeah, interesting. We shall see.
So Sam, you're looking at it from a whole market, but how about from the crypto market? How do you see that being impacted by the new virus?
Yeah, but yeah, it's interesting what you say, Ellie. So whether the latest variant and the spread of it will have an adverse impact on crypto or a positive one, because there's long been held this theory that in times of trouble, people will put their money in safe harbor places. So typically gold is usually, you know, the place where it flies to. But more and more people are talking about crypto being a new safe harbor.
Yeah, against inflation. I'm using it against inflationary pressures, which are everywhere here in the US. But what I've been reading about, and you're the expert here, not me, I'm just learning. I've been reading about Ethereum and how Ethereum version 2 is the key to this success. So when is that supposed to be launched?
It's one of these classic ones. If you've ever worked in technology for any length of time, you'll know that the word soon never has a date against it.
Okay, you know, so they haven't given a date.
No, I don't believe so. They keep publishing, I think, like a roadmap or a vision of things. So the whole Ethereum 2.0 switching to proof of stake, which is going to be a major transformation, seems to get pushed back and pushed back. I was at an event in London in, I would guess it was late 2018, early 2019 or something, which Vitalik Buterin was presenting at, where he was saying, oh, well, we're nearly there, we're getting close. You know, so that was 2 years ago, or over 2 years ago now. So you never really know with these things, because they always encounter technical problems. That's just the nature of it. They are pushing boundaries. So, but yeah, if it finally switches to proof of stake, that is going to be very powerful, because that radically reduces the cost of mining.
Right.
It kind of changes the dynamics on that.
It changes the number of tokens available, right? It makes it unlimited.
No, Ethereum, if I remember correctly, doesn't have a hard cap anyway. Okay. So unlike Bitcoin, where Bitcoin has a fixed number of 21 million,
right?
Ethereum, if I remember correctly, and it's been a while since I looked at this, so I may be wrong, I didn't think Ethereum has a cap, unless I'm getting mixed up and it does, and it's 42 million. But I don't know. But the mining mechanism, the method used to secure the network through consensus, which is what proof of work is, or proof of stake is, or proof of elapsed or anything like that, shouldn't affect the number of tokens that are available. It should simply affect the cost in terms of electricity needed to mine the tokens.
But that's important in this day and age with all the clean energy stuff. Yep,
absolutely. And this is one of the things, particularly in the NFT space, where I know there are some digital artists who are refusing to do NFTs because they've heard that crypto is environmentally unfriendly. And so they just don't want to be associated with it. I had a conversation with somebody about this the other day. I was saying, well, yeah, it's a bit of a, not quite true there. It's a little bit like how, if you look at the sky every day, there are airplanes flying over, and those airplanes are burning fuel, irrespective of whether you're sitting on a seat on the airplane or not. It's just the way it is. So if you get yourself a ticket on a flight somewhere, that airplane's still going to burn that same amount of fuel anyway. You don't make that much difference. And it's the same with NFTs, that the mining process of Ethereum or Bitcoin or anything else is happening anyway. There's a new, in Bitcoin, there's a new block produced every 10 minutes. Right. Whether that block has got 2,000 transactions in it or one transaction, it's kind of like the airplane takes off anyway type thing. So the energy to validate the block is the same, irrespective of who's using it type thing. The great thing about proof of stake is it massively reduces the processing cost of producing and validating that block, which makes it much more attractive. So at the moment, I think Judge Business School in Cambridge, I think it was, they did some research on the cost of production in Bitcoin, and they worked out Bitcoin is currently consuming, I think it was the same amount of electricity as the Netherlands. So, you know, worldwide, Bitcoin network consumed about the same in Netherlands, if I remember correctly. It certainly went past Switzerland a while ago. And that sounds a lot. It sounds like an incredible amount, but is approximately half the amount of electricity that is consumed by television. No. This is even worse. Apparently, the electricity consumption of television sets on standby in the USA is double that. So you know when you leave, you leave your TV on standby overnight and various other electrical devices now. Apparently, that's still using more electricity than Bitcoin mining is. So it's all relative. And you've then got the thing with crypto. You know, everyone's complaining how crypto is consuming electricity, blah blah blah. So is the existing banking system. You know, the SWIFT network that allows messages to go between all the banks and everything, the computers they've got, the mainframes they've got, all this kind of stuff. It's all consuming electricity already. So
pretty scary to be on the banking side of things today. I think the future is very uncertain. So
I am on a panel this week, which is the virtual Bitcoin in Bitcoin in banking webinar. Which has got people from, I can't remember the exact companies, but certainly Elliptic, who are a great research and analytics company in the blockchain space, plus a couple of other tech people, plus a moderator who is into US banking considerably. So it's a US webinar, and I'm one of the panelists on it. And we're talking about Bitcoin, the threats and opportunities it presents for banking, what bankers need to know about crypto, because they might want to provide custodial services or payment services or whatever. Right. So if you check that out on the web, you can actually watch it this.
What is the name?
Well, if you check me out, if you find me on LinkedIn.
Yes.
I put a post out on my LinkedIn profile earlier on today, which has got details of how to register for the event.
Oh, okay, sounds good. And what's the title of the talk you're in the banking?
I think it was Bitcoin in banking. Okay. And it's part of it's an overall digital banking conference or something. The spoiler alert is we've recorded it already, so I actually know what the outcome is. But you should enjoy it. But I don't know how much they're going to edit it. But we covered some interesting things.
It's so cool that we can connect and do all these things through the web these days. Amazing.
Yeah, this is it. Well, I'm moderating a panel this week, which is blockchain and crypto in Sri Lanka, and so I've actually done some work out in Sri Lanka, but obviously there's no traveling and anything at the moment. So it's like on Tuesday I'm moderating a panel in Sri Lanka on blockchain and crypto, and then on Wednesday or Thursday I'm making a virtual appearance at this US bankers conference on Bitcoin.
Fantastic. And you don't have to take a plane.
Exactly. Yeah, I'm 5 minutes away using Zoom, which is fantastic.
I love it, Zoom. I think it's fantastic.
Yep.
But the markets we're very unhappy on Friday. They were pretty radical.
Well, yeah, I was going to pull that up because I noticed that Bitcoin took a bit of a hit. It dropped about $4,000 in a matter of.
No, it's pretty bad right now. It's like 54,000 right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, let's go and take a look at the numbers. There we go. So, yeah, 54.8 at the moment. So it's kind of settled down a little bit. but it was on the 26th, wasn't it? Around about here, on the 26th, just after midnight, UK time, that is. So I'd guess that would be late evening for you, where it started tumbling.
Wow.
And if you take a look at it, it was like a 50, it was just on 59 there. It took a tumble down in over 6 or 7 hours, dropped $2,000, and then fell off a cliff, dropped another $4,000 over the next hour. The interesting thing I found about that was that almost the same thing happened with Ethereum.
Sure, everything.
Yeah, so this is the standard thing. Usually if Bitcoin plummets, then everything falls over with it. But it was interesting with Ethereum, similar kind of story, but a little bit later. So it kind of lagged a little bit. So again, at midnight, we began to see this dropping away. And then round about here, which is about an hour after the drop on Bitcoin, Ethereum went down from 44 to, I think it was just over 4. Yeah, so it dropped 10% in about an hour or something. So it looks like there was a big sell-off went on. And then since then, it's all settled down. It's all.
Do you think maybe somebody got money out of their vaults and just got it out into the market and reduced it, you know?
It's maybe, there's so many explanations of these things these days. As to, I describe it as probably a butterfly flapped its wings in the Amazon. Yeah, it can be completely random. We just don't know.
Let me take a picture of this. 1 second.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. Do you like Binance as a trading platform?
Yeah, it's sorted its user interface out. It seems pretty good. I don't do much in the way of trading at the moment, but I've used Binance, Kraken, Coinbase.
Which one you like best?
Binance is the simplest. It's the most. I find it's the most intuitive to use and one of the more reliable ones as well. Although I believe Kraken has improved considerably over the last couple of years, but I've not really used it that much. But all of them, you know, even Binance at times, that quite often I get to hear that there's been a major market move, not because I see it on the chart, but because I start getting messages from people via WhatsApp to say that they can't get into Binance, it stopped working.
Oh. It's overloaded, maybe.
That's right. So what seems to happen, and this seems to happen with most of the major crypto exchanges, is if they get hit by a real spike of trading activity, which is leading to big price jumps, then they have technical issues, in inverted commas, and you can't trade for a few hours. Now, in fairness, the traditional financial markets do something similar. So if the New York Stock Exchange or the London Stock Exchange, if they detect anomalous trading activity, and they yeah, that's right, because they had it a number of years ago. There was the famous flash crash where you know, people saw that the split between buy and sell orders just move away, which meant that there was no market. And it's like, well, if there's no market, you can't buy and you can't sell. And I think that triggered a whole load of algorithms which went into panic mode. And so I think it may have been the NASDAQ actually, or it was either NASDAQ or MISE or one of them, suspended trading for a short while, I think, while they tried to figure out what happened. So in a way, crypto doing the same.
Of course, because they're growing pains.
Yeah.
I tried to get an account with Binance when I first started trading, and there was some errors and there was no customer service, so I just gave up. But I'm reconsidering. I might give them a second try.
Well, the other problem as well with the likes of Binance is that sometimes they hit issues with the regulators. And so what they'll sometimes do is they'll either re-domicile. So I think Binance, I think I saw an announcement the other day that they're considering moving to Ireland at the moment. But if you try and actually work out where Binance is based, it's actually surprisingly difficult. You know,
where are they based?
I'm not sure.
Oh.
You know, originally they were Asia based. You know, and whether Asia based means Hong Kong or Singapore or whatever, but they seem to move around. Then they did have an operation in the US because the website was Binance, right. Binance.us.
Right.
Then I think they may have wound that down or something, or closed it, and they've moved. I've got no idea. But they seem to move around.
Right. Maybe India, because they have a big Indian population too on that.
Yeah, India's interesting from a regulatory point of view, though. So about 6 weeks ago, the Indian cabinet announced that they had a cryptocurrency position paper that they were reviewing, where they were about to announce a final decision about cryptocurrencies legality, and the whole thing. So it's interesting that I try to remember now. So I think it's RBI, which is the Reserve Bank of India. So kind of like their equivalent to the central bank, the regulator. I think they tried to say that crypto for trading was illegal. They tried to say something about it, which, given how many Indian people hold crypto, was a bit of a surprise. But then the Supreme Court in India made some other judgment that no, it wasn't illegal or something. So India is always interesting. That I'd say it's quite funny that I think in the US you can do anything as long as it's allowed. In India, you can do anything as long as it's not prevented. So it's kind of bizarre, and people I know accept it. So
well,
like,
it's kind of like in France, you're guilty no matter what if you're suspected, and in the US, you're only guilty if you haven't been proven not.
Yeah. So that's the difference. So that's the way I describe it. In that the US, you can only do things that are legal.
Right.
In India, you can do anything as long as it isn't illegal. And because they didn't have any regulations specifically around crypto, that meant it wasn't illegal. So anyway, so I think it was about 6 weeks ago, they were about to come out with an announcement. They still haven't come out with that final announcement, but there was
That's going to be an important announcement.
That's right. So there was something a few days ago coming out, and they keep sending rumors out to say, oh, crypto is going to be banned, crypto is going to be allowed. The last I heard, and it may have changed again, is that any privately operated cryptocurrencies might be illegal. So when you think about
the situation in the UK?
In the UK, cryptocurrency is legal, but is not financially regulated. However, so it's not considered as a financial instrument, which means it doesn't benefit from the protection of the Financial Conduct Authority.
Right.
But the FCA, who's the UK regulator, kind of equivalent to the SEC, they have banned crypto derivatives. So things like exchange traded funds or pool things, they've banned those to domestic customers. So unless you're a business, you can't trade in derivatives and crypto derivatives, which is bizarre because they did a public consultation. 97% of the respondents said, yes, we'd like to be able to trade crypto derivatives.
Oh.
So the vast majority of people said they're in favor of it. And the regulator said, no, you can't do it because it's too dangerous. You're very naughty and we're going to protect you. So
that's okay. Anyway, I appreciate you. I had a private talk with Gary.
Hey, no problem. Well, look, I'm going to edit a little bit of this and I'll put it up online anyway, because what we talked about there is really interesting. And I hope for people who are going to watch this afterwards, they found it interesting as well. And there's always things to be learned. So certainly, if you're a banker in the USA, don't forget to register for the event on Wednesday. And
I will put that in my calendar. That'll be fun. Okay.
Yeah, that'll be great. And if you're into blockchain and you're looking at the pros and cons of blockchain and its adoption and the Sri Lankan perspective, don't forget to register for the conference, which starts In fact, in a few hours, because Sri Lanka is 5.5 hours
Oh, yes.
ahead of the UK. So,
So it's actually going to be tomorrow.
So it's a 2-day conference. I'm running a panel on the second day, on the Tuesday, but it's a 2-day virtual
And they're
conference.
open to the public, both of them?
That's correct, yeah. So again, if you go onto my LinkedIn profile, there are details of how to register for the event and everything as well. So
thank you, Gary. I'll take a look and see what I can fit in my schedule with the time difference. Some things may work, sometimes may not.
Yeah,
but
well,
great.
Well, that'll be good. Anyway, glad you enjoyed it, Ellie, and hopefully people who are watching this enjoyed it. And if anyone is watching this on YouTube, do remember to click on the subscribe, the like, the bell, blah, blah, blah type thing. Ellie,
I'm so grateful that you gave me the time.
Oh, a pleasure as always. All right, have a great day.
Bye.
Bye now. So we never know how these sessions are going to go. We ended up pretty much with one-to-one with Ellie and I talking about Bitcoin, blockchain, banking, NFTs, and quite a few other things. Hopefully you stuck around and enjoyed that. If you did, do remember to subscribe, click on the like button, make comments in the YouTube channel as well, always welcomed. And even better, come along to a future session, come and join us. If you're an expert, you can share your knowledge and wisdom. If you're a novice, you can come and ask questions. Until next time, see you again.